Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, from wherever you're joining us, and welcome to day 4 of the third week of NT 4.0. My name is Ruth Ezenwa, and it is wonderful to see all of you here again, ready to dive into today's session. We hope you've been finding the program enriching and insightful so far. Today, we have an exciting topic lined up that builds on what we've covered. We'll be exploring remote working and freelancing. This is particularly important not just to entrepreneurs but also to individuals looking forward to transiting into from their on-site jobs to remote roles. Our speaker for today is Ursula Prinzinger. She'll be guiding us with a wealth of experience through this insightful session. Before I hand the microphone to her, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Ubuntu Soft, Africa's Business, Numpro Technology, and Spirit TV, for making this year's program possible. And also to you, our dear participants, for showing up every day. You're the real MVP. Let me now introduce our speaker. Mark Frizinger has been active in the IT industry since 1987, working for notable firms including NTR, Softlab, and Oracle. She pursued management and entrepreneurship studies in Vienna, Austria, where she resides. Nearly 2 decades ago, she ventured into self-employment and founded Ubuntu Soft in 2013, specializing in digital marketing with a primary focus on website development. Additionally, she holds certifications as an insurance agent and financial advisor. She co-founded Africa's Business, an initiative aimed at supporting Africa's entrepreneurs in Vienna. She teaches all employed individuals skills such as data organization and web design to enhance their prospects in the IT sector. Since 2022, she has contributed as a speaker at NTEEP, sharing her insights into entrepreneurship and digital skills. Let us all make a warm birthday welcome to Mark Brizinga as she takes up. Mom, once again, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. Thank you, Ms. Ruth, for the nice introduction. Thank you for having me again. So this is the last day, last training day, so to say. Our topic today is a topic that will not only be interesting for you if you yourself want to become a freelancer, a remote worker, so to say, but it should also be interesting for you if you already founded your company and you might be interested in what is a virtual expert, what is a freelancer, how can a freelancer maybe help me in my company's work so that I'll probably be more efficient. So it's for all of us an interesting topic. So let's see to it. What is a virtual expert or a freelancer? Sometimes it's also called a virtual assistant. But yeah, as we know, a virtual assistant can also be something like Siri. So we are actually more talking about virtual experts. It's typically a person that has worked as an employee before. So freelancers normally have huge experience in working with big companies. They have experience in various areas. So they are skilled workers. Many of them have academic degrees. So it's not just, let's say, like a secretary job online. It's much more than that. They decided to work from home and be self-employed, and they have the customer base just everywhere. So they can work with international customers. So like in your case, as you are all very good in English, as it's your language, you can actually have customers wherever there are English-speaking customers. Additionally, a freelancer is not someone that should be mixed up or maybe compared, but not exchanged for an employee. They are not employees. They have the same kind of entrepreneurial mindset that should actually help your company to even have more ideas, have more insight, have more support by freelancers. So they are not the ones that you tell, do this now and do that later. So it's normally something where you might have like a project that you give a virtual expert, or you might even have a virtual expert that is very proactive, which means they could even come to you and explain what they've found out when they did a research about how processes are being handled in your company. And they would now actually have a suggestion of how to do it even better. So that is what differentiates a freelancer, a good freelancer, from an employee. They normally have to specialize just to be more successful. So many of them have a very specific topic where they are really good at. So some are good at one software, for instance, and they would be the ones that can set up and help you with this software if you are using the software in your company. Or others have their specific areas. If you plan to start a podcast, for instance, there are those that are really supporting podcasters. Then we also have for instance, freelancers that are supporting authors. So you see, freelancers are available in all kinds of areas, and they have a very good experience and knowledge. And they offer flexibility. That's actually their main, not reason, but it's their main advantage, because you can hire a freelancer for a specific project or for a specific time, but you would not have to keep paying the freelancer if there's nothing to do for now. Yeah. So a freelancer knows it's either a project or a specific period of time. It's maybe a specific number of hours, or some are even offering like packages that you as a startup entrepreneur can actually then hire the freelancer for. So who needs a freelancer? A freelancer is actually something that every single entrepreneur should consider. We know that entrepreneurs, especially solo entrepreneurs, they are dealing with a lot of different topics. So we actually have to deal with the bookkeeping as well as with sales, as well as with marketing. So various areas. And therefore, we might just be happy to find someone who supports us and takes away the tasks in one of those areas, for instance, so that we can focus more on the income producing activities, and let someone else who might even be better in it, specialized in it, deal with those things that we are not even maybe keen of doing. Yeah. And as I said, if we are not keen of doing it, we might also not be as efficient in it. So in my own case, I know I really don't like bookkeeping, and I know I am probably not that fast as a virtual expert focusing and specialized in bookkeeping, because that's something that the virtual expert is interested in and therefore specialized in. So we can see that's definitely and very useful, very useful support that we might be looking at. And also, if that depends on the country you are normally residing in, there are countries where if you have employees, so like in Austria, for instance, if we have an employee, you have to pay the employee for the time they are on holiday. You have to pay them for the time that they are learning something. You have to pay them if they are at home, sickness leave. So that's all the costs that you would have to consider with an employee, and even additional costs, taxes and so on might also occur. So with a freelancer, you have none of these. The freelancer, would even probably, if you have a good freelancer, they would even find someone that could take over a project if they see that they are sick for a while or something like that. So they are, again, they have this entrepreneurial mindset that actually helps them to plan in advance, and also always considers the company that they are working with. It's a different mindset, because they know if your company is successful, then they actually will have their, I would even call it a partnership, not only a working contract, but a partnership. They would have it for a longer time, because if you are happy, if the company profits from their knowledge, their experience and everything, then that's a good win-win situation. Then also, if you're looking for employees for whatever reasons, the problem that might occur is that you cannot find this one employee that might have all the various skills that you are in need of, that you are looking for right now, for instance. So that's also, then it's also great to have freelancers, because you could have a freelancer for like 10 hours dealing with podcasts. You could have another freelancer for like maybe 15 hours dealing with your customer support. So you see, it's much more flexible, this whole kind of system, as we are talking here about freelancing. And nowadays, I would actually also add another point to that, to the whole discussion about freelancers, and that is all the AI tools. If you were here yesterday, we were talking about digital marketing tools that are using AI, but there are, of course, many, many more tools using AI, and they are really there for more productivity, more efficiency. And you as a solopreneur especially, you might not have the time, the capacity during your already very busy working day to also check out various AI tools that might, in the long run, or maybe even in the shorter run, help you reduce your workload. But you might not have the time for that. So if you would look for a freelancer that already is into these AI tools, knows which ones are available, knows which ones could help your specific company, then this could also be a win for you. The areas a virtual expert is working in, they are endless, I would even say. I've put together a list for you just to show you all these different areas, and you see there are, of course, there are also kind of administrative tasks that you could give a virtual assistant, but it could even be much, much more. You could outsource all of your social media management, for instance, or, as I've mentioned before, customer support is something that there are virtual experts for. So all these kinds of things that you always maybe even wanted to realize and do in your company, but never found the time of doing them. So consider virtual experts as a great supplement to your company. So on the other hand, if you yourself would want to start as a freelancer, what would be the typical steps to achieve that? So of course you would have to start with development of an entrepreneurial mindset. Why is this? As I said, many of the freelancers, they started as employees, and they might still have this kind of thinking that they are being paid for work that someone tells them to do, exactly, maybe even in a specific manner to do. So if they now switch to having their own company, which it is, even if they are solopreneurs, then it's totally different. They will have to consider their own company and what their own company needs, what they can offer, and so on. And they have the same kind of tasks as you do have in your own company. And then they also have to consider the customer's company. So it's not just something that they do the work once and of course at the end of the month they get their salary. No, it's actually more about they normally even get actually paid in advance. That's the typical case. So they get paid in advance because you, as the startup entrepreneur looking for a freelancer, you decide which kind of package that they offer, which kind of maybe hourly, maybe how many hours would you want to have them work for you. But it might not be hours. Many freelancers, they have packages saying, I will do so and so many posts for so and so many platforms within a month. And whether they need 1 hour for this whole task or whether they need 20 hours, that's actually not something that is really interesting for you as a startup entrepreneur, because you have a fixed amount that you are paying, that you are agreeing on, and that's it. And normally you pay that in advance. Or maybe I've also seen examples where it's like in the middle of the month. So 14 days into the month, there's the payment, so that no one is afraid that either they would work in vain or they would pay in vain. So both sides could be handled like that. The next step would definitely be to define your big why. That's your reason why you're doing it. So to become a freelancer should, actually as every other business as well, should not have as the big why that you want to earn money. Of course, we all want to earn money. That's what we are doing it for in the long run. Yeah, sure. But there should be more, because whenever time gets tough, if you don't want to be one of those that are easily giving up, because it's only the money that might be your big why, then you will always have the comparison between, well, if I would go to work for a month, do maybe even not that interesting work, but I would do it, and at the end of the month there is the money. Yeah? As an entrepreneur, we know money might come in not that regularly. You might have months where you earn more, months where you earn less. So you need your big why to stick to your strategy and to go for your goal. And this big why could be various things. Yeah. If you are interested in this specific topic, I really recommend, and I put the link at the bottom of this slide, I really recommend that you watch Simon Sinek's TED Talk. That's what it's called. It's called How Great Leaders Inspire Action. It's not a very long video. Check it out. It really explains what are successful or very successful entrepreneurs and companies doing differently to those that are maybe just kind of surviving. Yeah? So very interesting for every entrepreneur. Check it out, not too long. Then the next step would be you actually find out what is a profitable niche or niche, depending on where you're from. You would say niche or niche. So your niche could be something that you actually have experience in. So maybe you have been working in that kind of field for long, and now you're trying to offer your services, your knowledge, your skills to companies. Or it could also be something that you want to pivot into, because it might be a great fit to what you did before. Yeah, so that might also be the case. What you definitely have to find out is whether there is demand for that kind of services that you are offering. The more demand, the easier it will be for you to find customers that want to have a long-time partnership with you. And also whether it's a profitable niche. We might have niches where people are definitely willing to work together with you, but they either might not have the money for it, so they cannot really afford you easily, or they might also not be willing to pay a lot of money for your support. The more your niche is like a hobby kind of niche, the less people tend to be willing to pay for it. Then definitely think of building your brand. You heard a lot about personal brand already. We had a training about it. And then you actually start building your online presence. That should be your website, so that people can actually know your contact data. They can know how to contact you. They should also see what kind of services you are offering, and maybe even prices. But we might not want to put out prices on websites. That is always the same discussion. On one hand, why not putting out prices? Because if you are offering a service and your payment is an amount X, you probably should put it on your website. But of course, if you don't want the competitors to know about it, I don't know, then you probably don't want to put it out on your website. That is a discussion with a lot of advantages and disadvantages. So to start, it depends on what you want to offer. There are cases where you might just be fine with just a phone and internet data to start. And with the kind of first income that you have, you can then try to get a laptop. Some services you might not be able to just do on the phone. So for some services, you would probably need a laptop. And then the website, as I said, would be great. But of course, I also know about freelancers who even started without having a website. And then during their journey, they then added one thing after the other. So the next thing is how to plan your business. And planning your business is definitely very important for various reasons. And you heard a training about how to develop a business plan. And even for freelancers, it's not really different. So they also have to know what they want to achieve. They have to know their goals. Maybe they will not be the ones looking for funds. that is probably more in the product producing companies normally, but nevertheless, for themselves, they need a kind of structure. So that starts with the business formation. We talked about legal structures. That's the first thing, which might also be a little bit different depending on the country you're residing in. Then, of course, your office setup. So this might be either your home office. You might have your own space in your apartment or in your house where you just establish your kind of office and whatever you would need to offer your services. It might also be that you prefer to work in like co-working spaces, hotel lounges, maybe coffee shops. So as I said, all you need is an internet connection and let's say a laptop and or a phone. So that normally gives you the opportunity to work from anywhere. The next step would, of course, be business systems. So that's very important. Although you might have found your first customer before you even think about business systems, but you definitely need the same kind of steps for every new customer. So don't be a freelancer that deals with customers differently every single time. So do have your idea of how to get customers. Maybe it's a discovery call that you want to use for that. Then you might have a corresponding business technology, meaning a software. I'll show you in the next slide for a second, because that would, for instance, be you have your appointment planning system ready, set up, where people that want to be on a discovery call, on a introduction call with you on the phone or maybe even via Zoom, they could actually find a time that would be a great fit for them, and you would set up this appointment schedule according to when do you have time, when would you want to have this kind of meetings. So let's go back to this slide here. So discovery call is one thing. Then typically after discovery call, where you got to know the company and the company got to know you, you normally then start sending them an offer. And with this offer, they can see whether they want to work with you. If that's the case, you would send them an agreement. Remember, we talked about the importance of agreements. And then maybe you have something like a welcome kit. A welcome kit where you typically welcome the customer, you tell them what they can expect now from working with you. Maybe you have something like a checklist. Maybe you tell them what kind of information you would need from them. It's about, for instance, passwords and so on that they are that you are in need of as a freelancer when you are working with the company's accounts, for instance. So these things are in a welcome kit. And then, of course, you definitely think about the software you want to use. We heard about CRM systems yesterday. There are some free ones even, where you can definitely put all the information about your customer. Some of these CRMs do have an invoicing functionality where you then could also send out invoices from the same kind of system that you are using, or you are having a separate kind of billing software. So these are the things you also have to put into consideration and to set up for your business. So big question, of course, where do you get your customers from? Your customers could be found anywhere. But of course, the most important question is, with whom do you want to work? Who are your customers? And we are not just talking about any customers. We're actually talking about who is your ideal customer. Maybe you even heard something like a customer avatar. which is used to describe a very specific customer that would be just the perfect fit for you to work with. Yeah. And when you found out who this perfect customer, this ideal customer would be, then you can start looking for these customers. You can start with family and friends, whether they know someone like that. You can then go on to ask colleagues and so on. You can go to meetings. Don't forget to network, start your network. Even consider other freelancers to talk to, find out how they got their first customer. Or what you also, of course, could do, we see it a bit later anyway, you could also find a virtual assistant that maybe has something like an agency, and then try working with those. So that would mean they would actually look for the customers first. You would first start working as a freelancer and maybe only later start looking for your own customers. So both things are possible. And nowadays, and I think in Africa it's even worse, we know that people they are not trusting too much, let's put it like this. So what's very important is that you gain the trust of your potential customers. And how can you do it? There is the great way of having already customer testimonials. So you might ask me now, so how do I get customer testimonials when I'm actually looking for my first customer? And there are also a few ideas to that. You might have already done something, helped someone before with your kind of knowledge, even if it was not in exchange of money. So you could go to these kind of people, ask them for testimonials. You could also offer a discount. That could be a way, or even offer to work for 1, 2, 3 customers for a specific period of time, to work for them for free. So you would just offer them your expertise, your time and everything for a very specific project, just for them to then give you a testimonial. So that's very important to have. And therefore, I would say a website from the beginning is very good, because that's where you can put those testimonials. And when people see your services, and they would generally be interested in your services, and they see that other people are already praising you and they are talking about how wonderful it was working with you, you can be sure that there is more trust and they are more willing to actually hire you than if you don't have any testimonials. We said go to events, also very, very important. And maybe not only events that are interesting for you and your area of experience, but I'm also thinking of events of where your ideal customers would go to. So if your ideal customer would be a plumber, then go to events that plumbers might attend, and talk to them and hear what things they are discussing, because it's even about, they might even be discussing what kind of pain points they have. So you can actually maybe even come up with a new kind of offer, a new service that you might be able to offer them, just because you were interested in hearing about their typical day of work. Groups as well, and they're also, it's not only on site, it's online as well. So just try to do a bit of a research to actually find these opportunities. And another hint, use what you learned in personal branding. Then, of course, you also definitely have to start your marketing campaigns, and that could be a lot of different things. We have a list here again, and it's not a complete list. It can't be. So you might even come up with something, with a completely new idea of how to market your services to potential customers. And I said it before, try to, in another training, I said, don't try to be everywhere. Jack of all trades, I think it's called. Find one thing that you start learning, that you start kind of perfecting, and use this until it really works, and then add something else. So don't try to do all of it at once. And of course, also with these marketing campaigns, even a virtual expert might look for another virtual expert as someone to support her or his own work as well. Yeah? Finally, you could also find customers on various places online. There are marketplaces like Fiverr, it's quite well-known place where you can offer your services. And also, if you are a startup entrepreneur, where you can find freelancers. Then there are real job sites. We see Flex Jobs as an example. And of course, also agencies. So if you are a freelancer, as I said, try to find another freelancer who has been in the industry for long and is looking for support. That might be a good start for your own career. I put together a list that I'll show you in a second, where you can create profiles of yourself, your knowledge, your experience, your services. In all these cases, if you are creating a profile, use these 8 tips for having a really great profile. You can see there is, it's talking about have a professional picture. That should not necessarily be the picture with your cat or with your friend or whatever. Have a compelling headline. Look out what others are actually putting into their profile, those that already, where you can see they are super successful. Yeah. Maybe you do not only have text that describes your services and offers, maybe have a short video, because that's something that not too many profiles show for now. If you look up all these kind of platforms, put in exactly what is the most interesting part of your bio, interesting for what you want to offer, so that people know why they should actually hire you, where you got your experience from. Of course, the formatting is important, should be highly readable. And then also, of course, the more work you did already, the more you have something that you can actually show. And that's a portfolio that you should put up, probably also on your website, a portfolio with all the, if you're a graphic designer, with all your graphics, if you're a web designer, with all your websites, for instance. And that's also something where people see, okay, you are really already experienced and not so much a beginner. And then, of course, name all your relevant skills that you do have, so that people know what they can expect. And also in these accounts, share all kinds of testimonials. Very, very important. So to come to an end nearly, we have this list of links where you can start looking for online jobs. And there are some even Africa-specific links in it, and the rest are actually more international links, platforms that offer all kinds of jobs depending on your niche. And then I want to actually finish my presentation with reminding you of the opportunity AI also for you as a freelancer. So this is very important. The more you can offer, the more knowledge, the more experience with various AI using tools you can offer your potential customers, the more you will be in demand. And that being more in demand also means, of course, you can finally also charge more for your skills. And we talked yesterday about AI using tools, and these tools, they are not inexpensive. Many cost quite some money, but if you're a freelancer and you would have several customers that you could use your own account with one of these AI using tools to actually do work for those customers, then that could also be an advantage. It would be your account and your tools that could actually help more than one customer, more than one African entrepreneur to also use those products. Whether that's video creation, whether that's copywriting, even for podcast creation, there are a lot of tools that you actually can use. So I hope you will listen to my suggestion, and I'm open for questions. Back to you, Mrs. Ruth.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was brilliant. Thank you so much for the
You're welcome.
insight. And of course, yes, we have some questions in the comment section. I'll just go to the comment section right away and then I'll pick it up from there. Okay. We have a question from Clinton. A question is, Mark, what strategy do you use to maintain clear communication with or team members when working?
I'm sorry. The connection is not very clear. Could you please repeat the question?
Okay, sure. Question is asking, please, what are some strategies to maintain clear communication with clients or team members when working as a freelancer?
Okay. Thanks for the question. It's a very good one and very important one. Consider at least, not at least, consider a tool like Trello, where you could. It's meant for making it visible for everyone where in a specific project everyone is. So check out Trello. We were talking about it yesterday shortly also. And probably in addition to that, one of those team chats. And I'm not necessarily talking about WhatsApp. I'm talking about things like Slack that's being used quite often. Maybe you do have a Microsoft Teams environment or maybe Google Workspace, where there are also some internal chat opportunities. Or you just make sure everyone in your company, in your team, is working with a specific CRM, and that all the communication is actually handled via the CRM. So that's important. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Another question is, please, how can startup entrepreneurs ensure productivity and accountability from remote employees or freelancers?
Yeah, also a very good question, and thanks. That's actually something I could and should have mentioned in my presentation already. How would you, that's very important to know, how would I even work with a virtual expert? And one thing is, don't hire for the long run immediately. Definitely always start like with a smaller project. And for this, even for this smaller project, what you can do and what you should actually be doing when you want something to be done in a very specific way, so like you have your sequence of how you do a specific process, then you might use just a screen recording software where you just record yourself doing whatever it is, yeah, and then have this as a video to actually train your virtual expert to do it exactly the way you would want it to be done. And that can also be used for the very first kind of trial period of time that you are working with a virtual expert. And then you see whether the expert is keeping his or her word. Are they on time? Do they deliver before the deadline ends? All these kind of things that are actually very important for you and your business. And a good virtual expert will definitely pass all of your checkpoints. Some others might not, and you might see in a very first small project which kind of virtual expert you actually are dealing with.
So sorry there. I think we lost Ruth there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So I think we lost Ruth there, but I'll be taking over. We have another question from Mr. Malomani, and the question is, okay, sorry, I won't be taking that question. Please, what are some of the tools and technologies that I can find helpful in my remote work or freelance entrepreneurship?
A very good question, but also very, very difficult to answer because it depends on your niche. So there, if you already decided upon your niche and you wanna get in contact with me after the training to ask for a specific niche, for a specific area of your skills, that would be totally fine. For now, honestly, there is a vast amount of tools, and new tools are coming out every single day. I would definitely check out all the marketing tools that we were talking about yesterday. Start with those, but of course, depending on the niche you would want to work in, there might be additional ones. But that, as I said, it depends.
Thank you, Ms. Ursula, for that answer. The next question is from Clinton, and the question is, please, how can startup entrepreneurs ensure productivity and accountability from remote employees or freelancers?
Okay, I think we had this question. The answer was about having a small trial project first. That was
okay. All right, so sorry for that. I think those were all the questions for now. But okay, we have another one from Clinton, and it says, please, what are some strategies you use to maintain clear communication with clients or team members when working?
Yeah, we were talking, we had this question, and we're talking about channels like Slack and so on. But actually, there's another point that I want to mention in reply to this question. Clear communication can also mean you make sure that your either employees or virtual experts, your team members, they know about what your company actually wants to achieve. What is the mission? What is the vision? And all of your team members should know that. And then it's when they know that, because you have it in written form, you hand it out to everyone working with you, then you can also refer to that in your communication, and it probably helps to having clearer communication that way.
Thank you, Ms. Ursula, for that answer. Another question from Jumoke is, as a freelancer of 2 years, I believe getting the first job is supposed to be the hardest. But after doing 5 different jobs on Upwork with 5-star ratings and no jobs for a year, now what can be?
Yeah, so I definitely want to agree to the statement that, of course, the first job, it's the beginning. You learn so much by just doing the job, so you are getting better, and your skills and everything is getting better as well. Nevertheless, just do two major things. One is really asking for the testimonials. So collect them, really kind of nearly demand for them. That is one thing. And the second thing is do a lot of marketing. That is something that a freelancer also easily tends to forget. If you are working, if you are having a few customers that you're working with, you are busy, you are doing the work, the customer is happy, you are happy, and then suddenly the customer says, for whatever reason, I cannot go on with you next month. And then if you did not find time all the time already to do your consistent marketing, you are going to have a problem, because then you might not find the customer from one day to the next. So even for a freelancer, also especially for the freelancer, consistent marketing is very important. You have to find time and to make some time in your schedule where you really say, what do I want to post? Do I want to have a podcast? How would I get in new customers? Because if you have, for instance, a website offering something, referring people to the website all the time, maybe have something like an ebook teaching startup entrepreneurs how to work with a freelancer, just as an example, then you collect email addresses, and the best thing then could be that you are emailing them regularly, and then some or even a lot of them want to work with you, and the best would be you end up having a waiting list. So that is really great and can be achieved. A wonderful platform for this kind of work, because it's more like it's really this kind of professional work that you also should be using for your marketing, is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not not that much like Facebook, where we always say Facebook is about cats and dogs videos. LinkedIn is much more serious. It's about job. It's about posting something that is useful and having a great profile that actually talks about what your customer needs, not necessarily about what you are all about. Of course, they should know what are your services and what's your experience, but the most important thing is define your niche, and then your profile should talk about the pain that your potential customer has and how you are able to solve that. That can bring in interested people that would DM you.
Okay, thank you so much. Another question from Ayoko is: any cheap and affordable website as a starter can use? It's bumper website okay for small business?
So I would, as you're here participating in this program, I would actually suggest very much so to actively participate and try to get to the next level of the next level of this program, because one of the things that you definitely can achieve, you could be one of the participants eligible for getting a website. So that's absolutely something that I would suggest. If not, I don't know exactly Bumper now. I know free websites like Wix or Squarespace and so on. For the very, very, very beginning, it might be okay, but honestly, in my experience, it costs you more later on to then redefine everything. Start with a very basic version of a website. Try to find an offer that's not too expensive. And maybe one very important thing, we hear again and again of startup entrepreneurs that are even willing to give a web developer shares of their company for them doing a website for them. Please don't. That's something that you will be regretting down the road for sure. So look for someone who might be able to do something in an achievable way, especially if it's maybe really like a one page landing page. That is even the most important one, and start with that.
Okay, thank you, Mom. We'll be taking the very last question for today from Chipo Pelisi. I hope I got that right. Is freelancing sustainable, or should it be treated as a side hustle while one has a stable job, maybe a permanent 9 to 5?
So actually, it's even recommendable, if possible, that if you want to become a freelancer, that you definitely start doing it as a side hustle first, because as with every self-employment opportunity, you might not have the income from one day to the next, so it might take a little while, and you also have to prepare some things. I mean, you can get up and running if you're really serious in maybe like 30 days, but that's normally not the time where you are already working and then having an income. So I would suggest starting slowly, kind of not like giving up your job immediately. It's recommendable to first see that your what you call side hustle is working. Meaning, if you have to be very honest to yourself though. Are you really putting in 100% of your potential effort, or are you treating it like a hobby? Yeah? So that is very important. But if you put in 100% of your productivity and give it everything, yeah, then you should see it working within a few months. And if it's working and you see that maybe like 6 months you really had a kind of persistent, or a kind of income that is not completely up and down and up and down, consistently, that's the word that I was looking for. If your income is kind of consistently for like 6 months, then that would be the time to say you actually fire your boss.
All right. Thank you so much, Mom, for your valuable insights. We are grateful to have you talk to us today once again. And to you, dear participants, if you're yet to connect with us on our social media platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at NTEEP Connect, I don't think you're doing the right thing. So do make sure you are following us on all our social media handles. And then we encourage you keep a date with us again tomorrow. Remember, it is not over until it's over. Until then, see you tomorrow, same time. Have a blessed and fruitful day. Bye.
Bye.